Nothing in this recording is intended as investment advice, and the people in this recording may hold positions in the companies they talk about. Do not make any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to Zak's Traders Cafe. Today I'm joined by Howard White, who's the director at Hydrogen Utopia. How are you today, Howard?
I'm very well. Pity about the weather, but I always seem to say that when we talk.
Today you released an RNS, which to me looks like one of the best small cap RNSs of the year. Maybe you can tell us about it.
Well, yes. As you know, Hydrogen Utopia has an option and is progressing that option to acquire 49% of Ohrid Organics. This occurring after the end of the project with the Argentinian company. I won't say very much about that other than I can understand why the Argentinian economy is in such an incredibly poor state. The transaction is between Ohrid Organics and Canopy Growth, and Canopy Growth were at one time the largest cannabis company in the world, and they are probably the most known cannabis company in the world. So for us to become not only a supplier of our strains of product, but also that we will be growing their genetics under license to them. And that is a massive achievement because these companies like Canopy Growth, protect their genetics like Coca-Cola protect their recipe. So it's fantastic news. And this, I think, is that we are the lowest cost producer, one of the lowest costs, in fact, probably the lowest cost producer in Europe. So we can sell to them at a price that makes it very attractive for them. But in addition, the German medicinal cannabis market has gone, I'm going to use the word insane. I note that a UK user who went to their doctor to get a prescription for medicinal cannabis was given a note saying that most of the cannabis strains are not available in this country because they've all been diverted to Germany. So this, I believe, has really stoked up the demand, and companies like Canopy Growth, who are very, very strong in Germany, look for a company like Ohrid that can provide them with the quality and quantity in the future that the demand, which is not a spike demand. You know, once you get into a medicinal product like cannabis, it maintains its level. I mean, it's only the growth spurt that might change, but you won't really get people deciding the majority of people deciding they don't want to use it once they've started because of its beneficial effect.
So just to sum up what you've said so far, Canopy Growth, I suppose, is like, or having the deal with Ohrid and Canopy Growth is a bit like an oil and gas company doing a deal with BP. So that's the validation that you have for Ohrid and its products. You've also proven the genius idea of HUI buying the stake in Ohrid to get the cash flow in so that it can then roll out the waste plastic to hydrogen plants at a later date. And I suppose from a shareholder perspective, you've de-risked all the concepts that you've had, either both the waste plastic to hydrogen and also that you've actually got a producing cannabis company, whereas where many companies, they talk about it and they never get there, a bit like mining companies.
That is absolutely correct. We can show the many growths of product and the improvements that we are continually making, that we've taken, I think, in the last 12 months, we've taken the Ohrid Organics from a 4 out of 10 to 8.5, 9 out of 10. I mean, it is now a state-of-the-art facility. There have been many, many changes. There are quite a lot of pictures and videos online through LinkedIn. And I think the idea of our CEO to persuade me to sell for what is a relatively small sum, 49% of the company, that is worth a significant multiple now. And with this transaction with Canopy Growth, I would hesitate to guess what the value of Ohrid Organics is now, seeing the other companies that are raising money at £50 million plus valuations before they've even got all they've got is a license in the building. They haven't grown a single thing, and we are on our way to the final stage of having GMP, EU GMP later this year, so we can be sending the product directly to the EU. Currently, we have a partner who assists us in selling it to the EU, but of course we can sell it directly to Israel. So I would say that this transaction with Canopy Growth is transformational, from it being a great opportunity to being a phenomenal opportunity.
And you can, I mean, obviously, Canopy Growth, they're itching to buy as much product off you as possible. You can scale up, or you can meet demand. You've got the capacity.
We have we're literally at the end of switching on 2 more greenhouses. So we had 3 grow houses. We'll have 5 grow houses. We have a license for 37 grow houses. And I think that what Ohrid now has to consider is whether it accelerates dramatically its rollout. My view as a wearing a separate hat now as a director of Ohrid has always been, we will grow to meet market demand. We won't do what everyone else has done, which is build a behemoth of a facility and then hopefully sell the product at a very high price to pay for it, and create massive overheads. We keep the overheads to a minimum and we grow to the market. This transaction with Canopy Growth is really making Ohrid look at, do we need to accelerate our capacity to get those other 24 greenhouses, which would take us up to producing 30 tons of dry flower a year over the next 2 or 3 years, rather than over the next 6 or 7 or 8 years. And that, I think, is where we're heading at the moment, and that's something that I am very focused on.
Of course, the market being the market, the shares of HUI are about sort of half what they were when you announced the Ohrid deal, and we wouldn't expect anything else. But is there any idea in your mind, you've got a 25 million market cap at the moment, what the potential is, and what potential investors are looking at maybe 6 months or a year down the line?
Well, I would say 49% of Ohrid is worth more than the market cap at the moment, and that's being very conservative. If one was looking at 2025, 2026, the sort of valuation is well into 6 figures, hundreds of millions.
Just finally, cannabis has been it's an elephant's graveyard for stock market investors, but it has been difficult. How have you managed to avoid all the pitfalls that other companies, maybe obviously without mentioning any names, which I'm sure we could, how have you avoided the pitfalls that we've seen other cannabis companies be hit by?
But very simply, that they've gone in on a top-down basis. So they think, oh, this is a great idea. Let's put 30-40 million euros in. Let's build a magnificent building with fabulous offices and some grow rooms, and we'll do it all indoors. And we'll take on loads of people, and we'll have a phenomenal burn rate. We'll Uber this. We'll make profits in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. And they have created monsters. Our view has been very simple. We put all our money into growing a first-class product and taking it through to a finished GACP, soon to be GMP product. And our offices are porta cabins. And I'm very proud of the fact that the offices in Ohrid are porta cabins, because we don't spend money on offices, because offices don't actually help cannabis to grow really, really well. What helps cannabis grow really, really well is 100,000 euros of lights in one grow house that are state of the art. So everything we have done, the money that has been poured in, has been to make the plants grow beautifully, and not to make the offices and the infrastructure and everything else, which doesn't produce any profit, is just a drain on the resources. So we have a break even, which is a small fraction of a lot of these companies that have become graveyards.
Well, we look forward to visiting you in your Porter offices and smelling the cannabis. But in the meantime, Howard White, Director at Hydrogen Utopia, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Zach.